Betor. Betor. I wonder if it's Betor, actually. I somehow doubt it, but it could be. Betor. Betor and Taval. Betor, Taval, Nariv, and Ureni. And, I mean, we could talk about Shaiko to round it off, but I don't really think we have to. I didn't reveal the other cons yet, which is good-ish. Gives me more time to talk about them, but I really wish Fenifar was revealed. I want to talk about her the most. Okay. Kishla Village. Okay, then nothing else among that. Okay. We have some rares, and we have some mythics to talk about. All right, perfect. This looks good to me. Hey, thank you very much for the YouTube subscription. All right. Okay, it's in alphabetical order, which is unfortunate in its own right, but it's fine. What is that? Oh, yes, I see. Oh, my goodness. I hope I didn't mess everything up by showing up late. Looks like I might have. That's unfortunate. Well, that will not stop the yapping about cards. Let me see. Adaptive trade post. Let's look at adaptive trading post. That's whenever you cast an instant sorcery spell, if this artifact has fewer than 3 charge counters on it, put the charge counter on it. Remove 3 charge counters from this artifact. When you next cast an instant sorcery spell this turn, copy it, and you may choose new targets for the copy. That's kind of whatever. Whenever you cast an instant sorcery spell, if this artifact has fewer than 3 charge counters on it, put the charge counter on it. Remove 3 charge counters from this artifact. When you next cast an instant sorcery spell this turn, copy it, and you may choose new targets for the copy. That's like really whatever. That is the same as what's that one Phyrexian? That one blue Phyrexian card. Type Phyrex. Color blue. It's just like this Mercurial Spell Dancer, that's what it is. Just like Mercurial Spell Dancer. Yeah, it's just like Mercurial Spell Dancer, which is pretty whatever. That's like, it is not the best of cards. It went into like every single blue commander deck for like a little, according to EDH Rec, it was like Mercurial Spell Dancer. Spell Dancer is a card that was like, oh my gosh, like you're playing spells and you're blue, just throw Mercurial Spell Dancer in there, why not? I don't really think this card goes anywhere personally. But you know, maybe if Mercurial Spell Dancer went in decks, maybe this can too. Here's a rogue. Now, could you spell oil counter? Deals combat damage to player. You may remove 2 oil counters. If you do, when your next is it's like really lame. It's like, you could do a Traxa if you want. You could Techathal. I mean, what you could cast a spell that proliferates. If Techathal's out, you can cast a spell that proliferates. Trigger Adaptive Trading Post. And then proliferate, and then immediately the next spell you cast? Okay, fine. So Techathal is the answer here. Okay. It's not even close to my favorite thing, but it does work. What's a deck that likes to copy stuff? You know, if you cast things for free, Narset, you cast all of them at once. Okay, original Narset does not work here. Honestly, you could just put this in Alania. Oh, Divergence. Yeah. Sure. Right. We'll just say like any deck that likes to copy spells, right? Just in general, right? Like if you specifically like copying spells, if that's like what your deck is about, then like go off. This clearly works. Yeah, that's like fair, right? I think Alania will stand in for just like generically experience counters. Is it Guy? Oh, Mizzix. Mizzix of the 𝔹𝕃ℂ𝔻. Yes. Mizzix of the 𝔹𝕃ℂ𝔻. This is true. This is truer than true. That's not the right one, Carl. That's not the right one. because I am a goofy boy. That ain't it. There we go. Yeah, there we go. That's way better. Yeah, that would do it. Yeah, I would say so, Warbler. That's not a bad call. So, adaptive trading post, 2 and a blue artifact. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, if this artifact has fewer than 3 charge counters on it, put a charge counter on it. Remove 3 charge counters from this artifact. When you next cast an instant or sorcery spell this turn, copy it, and you may choose new targets for the copy. Which is all fair. Also, I just realized you don't hear the music. Audio input. Audio output. There you go. Yeah, this is fair. If you're... Well, I mean, Mystics does do proliferate, right? Like, Tekkathal does kind of cover that proliferate corridor, but Mystics does do this, and you do get to keep on playing more and more and more and more and more spells every time with Mystics. And if you proliferate at all, it happens, it's even better. This is just an artifact that sits there and says, hey, oh, are you casting spells? Oh, you're already casting an X spell for basically free with Mystics of the 𝔹𝕃ℂ𝔻. Well, now the next time you do it, you just copy it, right? Like that's actually pretty fair. I can't deny that. That's pretty dope. Good call. Bombers, we're going over the spoiler cards from so we're going over some rares and mythics that have come out, and these are specifically the ones from the Jeskai deck, because the Jeskai got revealed by Command Zone today. And so, first we're going to go through all of the mythics and rares from that thing. And there's only 8. Like, there's only 8 here. And honestly, the conversation for a lot of them is going to be pretty quick. And y'all get to help me make the TikTok, like, make the short content that I've been making off of these cards. So that'll be pretty cool. It's going to be another high YouTube thing. But I think this is actually like a pretty decent chunk of cards. I like adaptive trading posts, if I'm being honest with you. I think it's just like a pretty whatever card. It is a very pre-con card. So what's good in the pre-con, you'll probably have fun, but when you play it on turn 3, but you're not going to be like, in a regular game of Commander, you would have wanted to cast almost literally anything else on turn 3 instead. But because it's a pre-con, you only have so many options, you just happen to have this in your hands, so you're just like, okay, yeah, sure, like, I'll play it, yeah, whatever. You know. So I get that. I absolutely get that. Alright, let's see. And then we'll go to the next card. I just want to see the next card really fast. Aligned Heart. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, put a rally counter on this enchantment, then create a 1/1 white monk creature token with prowess for each rally counter on it. I think this card's baller. The Precon Commanders also mostly wants to favor smaller spells. This is true. And, like, there's only so many times, because the thing is, like, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, if this artifact has fewer than 3, put a charge counter on it. The thing is, like, if you are casting spells, and like say the third spell you cast is just like opt, you know what I mean? Like you either wait, like, and you're already at 3 with adaptive training post. You don't really want to like spend the 3 counters just to double opt, right? But at the same time, it's like, well, if you don't double opt, then like I mean, then you like just don't get the charge counter, right? Like you just don't put the charge counter. I wish there was like if you have 3 or more and you don't want to put a charge counter, then like do something else, you know? The version of Narset and Shaiko that would consider this is the extra turns version. Yes, 100%, 100%. If you're doing extra turns deck, then like literally go for it, right? Which is, you know, I mean, that's going to be a realistic version. Although this version of those commanders doesn't really like hit on the that specific aspect that much. Like Alesha doesn't, or Elsha, and then Shaiko and Narset Unified. That just wants like the second spell you cast this turn gets copied, but only if it targets a permanent or player. Elsha is Super Saiyan Shrufus, 100%, 100%. Elsha is absolutely Super Saiyan Shrufus. Elsha is... I mentioned on Twitter, it's just like, you could basically run Elsha as a creatureless commander, like, for the second time, right? Like, you could go completely just all non-creatures with Elsha, and still win. Because she'll smack hard, and then make a bunch of creatures anyway. It's like, alright, sick. Cool. And then you keep on playing all the same spells that you were buffing Elsha with, and then the rest of her board gets buffed and you just kill. It's like, oh. Oh. I see. Yeah, that's a good way to put it though, Super Saiyan Shrufus. But okay, so here's a little bit of the okay, so I want chat, you're gonna be first in on this. So the way I've been making like the shorts that I've kind of been posting on YouTube and TikTok is that I'll get into like this exact kind of like view mode thing, and then I pretty much sit here and just go like, okay, hey, let's look at this specific rare, and then I prepare the notes just like, you know, with like this Mizzix of the Ms. Magus, Tekathal, Inquiry Dominus, and then Alania, Divergent Storm, and then it's like, woo, here are the cards, and then I jump over to the next one, and then we just kind of keep on yapping from there. So your suggestions right now, chat, helps me make that content. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go into hi YouTube mode, where I'm just going to basically record something, right? So like, even if you're talking to chat, I'll get to your message like right after, don't worry. But I'm going to like do a quick record of this thing, send it over to the editor, and then we'll get back to the next card. How's that sound? I still believe they made Omniscience Scaly version. Oh, they did. You still can't believe that they did it? Because that would that's a reasonable feeling. I honestly also can't believe they made it, but here we are. Here we are, you know? Was the Storm Dragon not enough? No. And now you can play the enchantment, play a bunch of other dragons for free, and then play the Storm Dragon. It's like, oh, okay. At 8 mana, it's not that far from just getting Omniscience. But it's not an interesting design space. For mono red, right? Like for dragon decks that aren't Teamer or blue, it's like the closest you get. You had to give them free dragons. Sometimes you just gotta. Sometimes you just got a card. Do you know how much shit red has to get treasures? Yes. Yes, I do. And hey, just simply counter the spell. Simply be a blue deck and counter the spell, and you'll be fine. Have you ever perhaps tried that? It's just mono red. How is someone actually on TikTok was asking like, how fast can you get how fast can you get out the Draco Genesis enchantment because I was mentioning like, oh yeah, you can use rituals, right? Like you can the red ritual cards that you pay 3 red, you get 5 red back, sort of thing. I was wondering like what's the the absolute pinnacle of being able to do that, but you'd have to have like the most nuts hand that probably doesn't leave you space for any dragons at all. So, like whatever. At that point. All right. So let me do the quick record really fast. My brother in Magic. I'm playing Naya. Treasonous oak. Oh shit! Damn, Armin, you're not. You ain't wrong. You ain't wrong. You ain't wrong. You are not wrong. You are not wrong. Yeah. Okay. Fair. Fair. I can't argue with that. Okay. Let me do the quick record really fast. Chat. We're gonna go into high YouTube mode. So feel free to type that in the comments. But forgive me as I do some quick takes. What do you want me to do? The 1 white counter unless they pay 1? That's only if they're targeting you. No, what I want you to do is reprieve. I want you to put it back into their hand and draw a card. Naya, ever think of that? Since it doesn't tap, in theory, you could use it on a turn where you're ready to go off and just keep copying. For what? Oh, for adaptive trading posts? Yeah. Like, if you're somehow going infinite on actually casting spells, because, like, copying a spell doesn't, like, count as the cast, right? So, like, since it doesn't tap, you could just, mono, opt number 2, opt number 3, take the 3 off, opt 4, and then, get 2 copies, and then opt, do again. Like, you could do that, but, I mean, good luck. But, I mean, Adaptive Trading Post, again, I think this is literally just, like, a 3-mana artifact card that you find in a lot of precons where, like, it's not the best, but it does help make the deck feel, like, a little bit more smooth and concise, because it's like a 3-mana Jeskai card in the Jeskai deck, even if you don't use this in a wider frame of Commander, You're talking Mana Tithe. I know you're talking Mana Tithe. I'm talking Reprieve. I think you should just run Reprieve. That's what I'm saying. Since it does definitely a good bracket 2 card, that's fair. And Mad Warbler made a point where it's like, yeah, I think it's good for like the infinite turn decks. Which, hey, yeah, fuck it, sure. Desert Trading Post is asking you to set it up. Then it gets blown up before. Oh, I think personally, if anyone spends removal on Adaptive Trading Post and not like anything else, it was a fine 3 mana to pay. If I'm being completely honest with you, I think that's perfectly fine 3 mana to pay. If I'm being perfectly honest. Okay. Chat, I'm gonna do the thing. Here we go. All right. So, the Jeskai Precon has been revealed, and the first card we have talking about is Adaptive Trading Post. 2 and a blue artifact. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, if this artifact has fewer than 3 charge counters on it, put a charge counter on it. Remove 3 charge counters from this artifact. When you next cast an instant or sorcery spell this turn, copy it, and you may choose new targets for the copy. Chat graciously mentioned that this is pretty good for like an infinite turns style deck. That does make a lot of sense. Oh! That's crazy. No, that doesn't make sense. Oh, okay, I don't care about that. Sorry. Sorry, okay. I have like a pause button and like a little pop-up window came up. That does make a lot of sense for like the infinite combat thing. But I would say... but even though we have infinite combats on the mind, the first commander that came to mind for me is actually Mythics of the 𝔹𝕃ℂ𝔻. You're already doing experience counters and therefore probably doing proliferation, and now you can proliferate the charge counters on Adaptive Trading Post. On top of that, imagine you're already casting big, expensive spells at a reduced cost with Mythics, and then now you get to double one of your absolutely huge ones. Remember the hydrate YouTube? True. And then, all right, okay, and then I press the pause button on the record, and then I collect my notes. The next thing we're talking about, chat, is not Mizzix, but 𝔹𝕃ℂ𝔻, yes. And speaking of proliferate decks, we have 𝔹𝕃ℂ𝔻 himself. If you play any instant or sorcery that tells you to proliferate, you'll be able to put the charge counter on adaptive trading post, proliferate with the spell itself, and then proliferate again with 𝔹𝕃ℂ𝔻, meaning that the next spell you cast this turn, instant or sorcery, will be able to be copied. Okay, I was a little clunky on that one, but we got through it in one go. Okay, and then the last card I was talking about, 𝔹𝕃ℂ𝔻. Alania. What is it? What's the damn name? I've just never run the otter. I just never did. I kind of wish I did. She's cool. What's the other card I was talking about, chat? Alania. Thank you, Warbler. See, we're making all the content together. All right. And then speaking of cards, and then speaking of commanders that like to copy things, Alania, Divergent Storm, is already a deck that likes to copy spells, and that's basically where you want to put adaptive trading posts, whether it's an old Narset or any deck that can run the Ralzeric Planeswalker that loves it when you copy spells. Alania, Divergent Storm is just kind of a stand-in for any single commander that likes copying, and adaptive trading post pretty much just goes right in there. So if you're looking for any of these commanders, be sure to use code Kuro at Cool Stuff Inc. for 5% off. And there we go. I'm not going to have that ending. That ending was kind of cringe and gross. And also we're going to talk about the other cards, so don't worry about that. But there we go. That's a little bit of an idea of how I make the contenty thing. So then I press stop record, and then I literally go to the Google Drive, and then I upload that, and then the editor works on it, and then... And that's it. And then we're good. We're Gucci. And then we go on to the next one. All right, chat. And just like that. And the next one we're going to talk about is Aligned Heart, which I think is actually a really good card. I actually really like this card. This is one of my favorite in the deck. Like by far. Aligned Heart, 2 and a white enchantment with Flurry. Also, I like the Jeskai mechanic of Flurry. I think it's cool. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, put a rally counter on this enchantment. So, interesting. So, a Narset, the Narset legendary creature says when you cast your second spell, if it targets something, you get double. But for Flurry, on this one, it's just whenever you cast your second spell in general. So I guess the Flurry mechanic is more about just, like, casting the second spell, and not specifically, like, oh, it has to target something. So that's something I think I kind of got wrong a little bit earlier. Okay, now we're back on chat. Where does Aligned Heart go? Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, put a rally counter on this enchantment, then create a white monk with prowess. So I mean, like, it's kind of obviously goes with the new precon commanders, but that's kind of like not really saying anything. You only get this in a precon, so I'm not really gonna like mention that part. That would be a little silly. But is there any other commanders where this is like particularly good in? Seems good for Feather. Ooh, that's hot. Armin, that's a good one. That is a good one. That's a super good call. Feather. I just typed in Feather like an idiot, just like regular Feather, as if I wouldn't find 50 million cards with the name Feather. I like that. Feather the Redeemed. Red, white, legendary creature angel. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets a creature you control, instead of putting it into your graveyard as it resolves, if you do, return it to the your hand at the beginning of the next end step. And Alliance Heart is just like, boom, alright, I did one thing with Feather, you're already going to do that. Boom, now I did a second thing with Feather. And Feather decks are always about being able to, like, cast 2 spells a turn, right? Like, at least 2, because you get the card back to your hand. If you have some way to make that card free, you know, or just, like, cost a lot less, or you just happen to have a lot of mana, then you're good to keep on triggering Aligned Heart. You mean Hitsune Miku? Correct. I do mean Hitsune Miku. Is that, yeah, that's right. It was that. Yeah, I mean, that was pretty good. That's pretty good. What if I was just like, alright, the number 1 card you want with Aligned Heart is Feather the Redeemed, and then the number 2 card is Miku the Redeemed. That'd be goofy. Yeah, whenever you cast your second spell, who else cares about second spell stuff? Is there anyone that, like, particularly is just like, oh, you cast 2 spells this turn, here's value? I just don't think there is. I don't think so, right? I don't, not cast second spell, right? I don't know, hold on. MTG. Second spell. I just literally, oh yes, okay, Scarfall would have it. In the color white. It was a couple of draft archetype gimmicks. There's gotta be stuff. Right, exactly. Like Clarion Spirit. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, create a white spirit token creature with flying. Like, you know. Lavinia. Lavinia foiled to Conspiracy. The worst version of Lavinia I've ever seen, but it is technically a real card. As much as I literally hate to say it, it is technically a real card. Oh my god! Duh! Any Prowess Commander probably likes it. This is true. This is true. Guys, obviously, Oji. Freya? Oh! I like that as a suggestion way better than Lavinia, if I'm being honest with you. Like, if I'm being honest with you, which I am, I like that way better than Lavinia. So, hold on. I like, as options, and then Freya. That's right. You know what? Honestly, yeah, Freya doesn't get... I mean, I don't know. It's not that Freya doesn't get love. I think that Freya gets a strangely, like, a lot amount of love. For how very specific of a commander she is, she gets, like, way more love than I kind of ever expected any card to get, if I'm being fair. Like, she's good, but, like, damn. Oops. Yeah, Freya's a good call, right? So, like, 5 mana, right? But whenever you cast your second spell each turn, look at the top 3 cards of your library. You may put one of them into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. I think Freya decks are already about casting low drop things in the first place. Probably instants and sorceries, whatever. So then, or even if they're just artifacts, it's just your second one each turn. Awesome. And then you get to add more cards to your hand, as well as make 1/1 monks that get bigger every time you cast these instant and sorceries. Seems pretty good to me. Seems perfectly normal to me. Oops. Okay. Alright. That's a good call, Warbler. Thank you very much. Can't think of any specific, but any Prowess Commander. And, like, even, you know, like, Prowess as a theme. I think Prowess as a theme is, like, fine. And that pretty much just comes down to every other Narset that exists, you know what I mean? Like every other Narset, just likes this. The original Elsha, Kaikar likes that, right? Like I guess Kaikar, yeah, Kaikar also likes this too. But I think we're tackling specifically like the second spell each turn sort of thing, and we're incentivizing, whoever has a line heart probably wants to go to commanders that incentivize that second spell, right? Like literally cards that say, hey, second spell, go off king, right? And I think Freya's a really good choice. Alright, so we have Feather, Oji, and Freya, Judge of Valor. Alright. Chat, I'm gonna do the thing. Here we go. Say hi, YouTube. The next Jeskai card we have is Aligned Heart, 2 and a white enchantment with Flurry. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, put a rally counter on this enchantment. Then create a 1/1 white monk creature token with prowess for each rally counter on it. Hope you're eating well, YouTube. True. So since this card is mentioning the second spell each turn, we want to find commanders that already want to cast that second spell each turn, right? Because that's how you're going to trigger this as many times as possible. So the first one we're obviously going to think about is Feather the Redeemed. This is literally a deck that likes to just play a spell, probably play another one, targeting Feather, and then they go back to your hand. What better deck is there for almost guaranteeing that you're going to cast 2 spells every single turn, even on your opponents? There we go. There we go. Okay, chat. Yeah, feeling that. Next one we have Oji. Next up we have Oji, Exquisite Blade. This is also another card that's pretty much always asking you to play 2 spells a turn. And then you get to flicker something, and that probably leads to either drawing cards, gaining life, whatever, allowing you to cast 2 more spells in a turn later so you can keep on flickering. Why are my card sizes all messed up? Oh, you know why? Because I am a goofy guy. Because I did the wrong thing. There we go. And then the last one is Freya. Yes. And then the last one, which was... a super spicy chat pick, we have Freya, Judge of Valor. This is an angel that's already incentivizing you to cast 2 spells in a turn, and Freya absolutely loves doing that. And with Aligned Heart, you get to go even wider than Freya already is, even though, she's like an expensive angel commander, so she's not going very wide. Aligned Heart allows you to keep on doing that. And you're probably casting instants and sorceries, which means that the prowess will trigger as well. And there we go. My card sizes are all messed up because I fucked up, but we learn and we rally. This is a goofy things happen when you're trying to do stuff. Doesn't it, chat? Okay. And there we go. And then, boom, recording done, and then that gets sent off. It's not my best work, but we're gonna try to nail it. What's the next one? The next one's gonna be... Oh, wait, no, hold on. We're not going to these yet. I want to get through... Oh, yeah, these are cool. The Caldera Pyre. I think this is clearly a Spellslinger deck, right? Like, this is... I wouldn't necessarily... I think it's, one of the first cards I would take out of the Jeskai deck, if I'm being real with you. And then I think I would immediately put it in just, any specific type of burn deck, right? So, 5 mana, 3/3 dragon, which is already, just barely getting by, right? But Caldera Pyre, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, put a +1/+1 encounter on this creature, then this creature deals damage equal to its power to target opponent. You can put it in Storm, only when you cast stuff, but yeah, you're not wrong. It's Storm with instants and sorceries, right? It's not like your typical Elsha deck, who is, just trying to, play, artifacts, right? 0 mana artifacts. But yeah, like instant or sorcery. It's just that like this guy only deals damage equal to its power to target opponent. This feels like another commander card that's kind of just like in there because it does fit the Jeskai theme, right? It does do that. But it feels like it's pretty limited. I think most commander cards would just say like each player. So I don't really know why this says just one player, if that makes sense. That being said, you could run this plus like a Jeska's Will, or not Jeska's Will, Jeskai Ascendancy would be pretty cool, right? Because like it's basically getting prowess. The Caldera increases in power every single turn, every time you're casting a spell, and then eventually it just kind of blaps people in the face. And it does it progressively too, right? Like it doesn't say just do it once per turn. It's every single time you do it. So the longer your game goes on, like my quick shot, what's her name? Something quick shot. Who does like plot cards, plot multicolor spells, right? It's like, if I'm plotting a spell after I cast it, that means I get 2 spells cast of it, and I end up doing a lot of damage to Caldera. It's just that you're starting off at 3, then going to 5, then 6, and you're probably not stacking that up on just one player, or else you're just going to get rid of the dragon. The only way to kind of ensure the dragon survives is to split your damage around, and that damage is not necessarily great. Layla, yes, Layla Slick Shot, right? Like, and that's that's one card I'm gonna suggest right now, for this. I do like Leela, and I think Leela's probably, considering this is a multicolor set, probably going to get a new blue-red spell. Who knows? Perhaps. Yeah, Leela Undefeated looks like something like this because you get to plot those cards after you cast them. So then Caldera Prior Maul is like, oh, I dealt 4 damage when I cast, the Prismari Charm the first time, and then it gets plotted with Layla, and then now you cast it again for free. Boom, that's another 5 damage now. It's on target, not each. Yes, exactly. It's on target. So it's like it's worse than Gutter Snipe. Worse than Gutter Snipe, I'd say. It's just that he does his damage ramps up, right? Like he can go above just 2 damage a turn. So I guess it is pretty okay. Is that hold on. Are you cooking? Are you cooking? Oh, whenever a source you control deals non-combat damage to an opponent. Hell yeah. Good call. Super good call. Yep, That Niv Miz does it. Yep, for sure. Niv Miz is Visionary. No max hand size. Whenever a source you control deals non-combat damage to an opponent, you may draw that many cards. And if you're doing Dragon's Approach deck, like a lot of Niv Miz Visionaries do, it's like already a one whole Dragon's Approach. That was a good one, Wobbler. I keep saying Warbler because there's a building. Whatever. Yeah, that's a good one. Is there another commander that likes the non-creature damage? If it wasn't 5 CMC, it would be good in Flip Ral, but 5 is rough. It is. It's 5 and it doesn't even make you win the game. Maybe it makes you win in 1v1, but not in draft. Will probably be good, but not here, not in Commander. Let's see, non-combat damage. What's the lady from Eldraine 2 that has the hammer? And then doesn't she say like when non-combat damage is dealt to an opponent, you get to direct where it goes? Like something like that? Probably because Lyrac Torthicus Warbler is your friend. Well, oh yes. Yep. That's why Wobbler. It's like She has like a tree arm and a hammer. From 𝔹𝕃ℂ𝔻, red card. Set. Oh my god. Okay, that specifically did not work. 𝔹𝕃ℂ𝔻 red? What is the card I'm thinking of? Damn it, that's crazy, I forgot. 𝔹𝕃ℂ𝔻. Whenever an instant or sorcery you control deals combat damage to a target creature or player. Okay, so that doesn't work either. I'm maybe thinking Toralf, but Toralf wants excess damage to creatures to be dealt to players. It might just be these two cards, if we're being honest. Like, it's in it. That's okay. Like when it's just two cards. I'll just kind of maybe throw something on there. Is there anything that says when the dragon deals damage, do something else, right? What was it? Which one? What was what? You know the deck? Toralf? Toralf wants non-creature damage from... And he used to go to a creature. Yeah. Toralf does not work here, sadly. Seems decent for a Dragon's Approach build, especially with 𝔹𝕃ℂ𝔻. Honestly, yeah, you're right. Just regular damage Dragon's Approach does this too. Gainax and Feywild Visitor. It's a morph deck that wants a small number of dragons, but most of the rest are the deck are its spells. Oh, right. It is definitely a poly. Yeah, it's definitely a polymorph deck for sure. Next and hello? Google search? Wow, it does not like that search. Like, it refuses. Alright, Gainax, Astral Hunter. That's pretty good. Whenever Gainax or another dragon you control enters, create a treasure token, and then you choose a background, and then you just choose a background that every time you cast a spell, or just like at the beginning of your upkeep, if your monarch make a token. I think that's what I was thinking of. But anyway, and yeah, this plus the one, yeah. You make a dragon token. That's the one that goes with this. So Caldera Pyramaw, 3 in a red, 3/3 dragon flying. Whenever you cast an instant sorcery spell, put a +1/+1 encounter on this creature. Then this creature deals damage, non-combat damage, equal to its power to target opponent. So if you're a deck that's going to be able to cast spells multiple times, right? Especially if the second one is free, then look no further than Layla, undefeated Slick Shot. If you want to know like the ultimate combo of having a dragon deal non-creature damage while still being a dragon, then you're definitely going to want 𝔹𝕃ℂ𝔻 Visionary, because he's going to draw cards for the amount of damage you deal. And then lastly, Gainax, Astral Hunter, and then of course Feywild Adventurer is going to be pretty heckin' good. Just treasure-wise. It's just a really solid dragon commander. If you don't have anywhere else to put dragons, I would just put it in Gainax. Okay. Also, I would use buff spells on this guy, by the way, chat. Like, if I knew that this was in my deck, I'd probably want some sort of, like, sacrifice outlet thing. Once my, like, a fling Caldera, oh, wait. You could do Caldera Pyre, cast Fling, deal 4 damage to someone, and then also chuck the Caldera Pyre at them, eh? It's a polymorph deck that wants a small number of dragons. Most of the rest of the deck is spells. Do you not want a Caldera Pyre? But you said the rest, like, is it non-creature spells? Because Caldera Pyre wants that. It only costs 5. It's literally not the end of the world. If you spend 5 not to polymorph, but instead make one of the cards that you wanted. Alright. We're gonna go into high YouTube mode in a second. I wouldn't want to polymorph into Caldera Pyre. It does sound bad, Beardy. It does sound legitimately bad. Alright, Layla, Niv Mizzet, Gainax. Gainax. Alright. Here we go. We're in YouTube mode, chat. Say hi, YouTube. The next card we have... Oh, no. Lamau. I should probably hit the record button. Probably recording, yes. I'm convinced I have to buy a box of this set just for value, and all I want is one right rare for your Rafine CDH list. Which one? Psyop. Alright. Chat, say hi to YouTube and or TikTok. Oh my god, I hit the wrong button again. And the next card we're going to talk about is Caldera Pyre. 3 red for a 3/3 dragon with flying, and whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, put a +1/+1 encounter on this creature. Then this creature deals damage equal to its power to target opponent. You look lovely today, YouTube. You're so flattering. I love it. I will, like, God, this card is like just okay. This is such a precon card. It will win games, right? Like, when you're playing a precon and you play this 5-drop, this will win you a game. It will. But also, like, what are you doing? You know, you're not going to want to keep this. Voice of Victory? Voice of Victory is good. Voice of Victory is real good. Voice of Victory is real good. Okay, back to YouTube mode. Dragon Hype, Isagi, Friendo. Right. Hold on, chat. We're in YouTube mode. Hold. Leila. Yep. Leela. Yes. Yep. So the first commander I was thinking about was one where you want to cast multiple spells, and what better way than with Leela, undefeated Slick Shot. Because you're going to cast a non-creature spell, it gets plotted, and then you're going to cast it again later for free. That means Caldera Pyre is going to deal 4 damage and then 5 damage off of just one spell. Next we have Niv Mizzet. Next up we have Niv Mizzet Visionary, the brand new one. Whenever you deal non-combat damage with any of your sources, you're going to draw that many cards. So combine this dragon with Caldera Pyre, and you're going to cast one spell, deal 4 damage, draw 4 cards, proceed to just win from there? Seems pretty good to me, especially in a Dragon's Approach style deck. And then what's the last one? We're talking about... I forgot. I locked in too hard. Oh, Gainax. And Feywild. Doesn't really matter. Stella Lee's a good pick there too. Stella Lee just kind of